In today's video, I'm going to talk with you a little bit about how to get started in homeschooling. Hi, I'm Ann with the Homeschooling Lifestyle, and if you enjoyed today's video and the content that I give you, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. Today I'm going to share with you a little bit about how to get started in homeschooling. And it is a big decision. I know. I've been there. It's taking it on, and it just feels like it's so much, and my child's future depends on me. Well, to a certain extent. They own a lot of their own learning, which isn't what we're indoctrinated to believe when we've been schooled. But in actuality, uh, our kids own their own learning. And so our job as homeschoolers is more to support, encourage, and facilitate our children in their learning journey. But how do you get started? Well, first of all, you've just got to make the decision. You've just got to say, yep, we're going to do it. And then you're in. Once you make that decision, you need to find out if you need to register and what's involved in that. And this is regulated at a state or territory level here in Australia. If you're in the US, it is regulated at the state levels. And in both countries, and I'm only speaking about those two because I live in Australia now, but I'm from the US. So I've had experience with both. But with both of them, you need to find out from the regulatory body how to register. So Google is your friend. That's all I can really tell you. But some of them require no registration at all. Some of them require a little bit of registration. Some are more draconian and require a lot of registration and follow-up and home visits. Some of them are very much tied to the public school system calendar and curricula. Others aren't. So that is going to be on you to do that research and to meet what requirements your state or territory has in place. So once you got that out of the way, yay! You're set to go. And in general, what you're going to need to do is learn more about learning outside the classroom. All of us that went to school, we know what learning looks like in the classroom. The content is determined by the adults. It's lectured by the teachers. We're quizzed on it. We're given exams over it. We don't necessarily have to enjoy it. Don't have to be interested in it. We just have to pass it. Right? Homeschooling, whole different story for the most part. Again, for those of you who live in areas where your homeschooling is meant to look a lot like public schooling because of the regulations of where you live, I'm so sorry. Maybe you could move. I don't know. But for the rest of us, we have some freedom to encourage and support our children to follow their interests of the moment. There is the terminology right now is follow your children's passion. I don't like that because children they don't have enough exposure to have passions. I mean, I just personally don't like that terminology. They have interests that are of the moment. Some of those moments last longer than others. Some of them are 15 minutes. Some of them might be 15 months. It depends. It just depends. It depends on your child. It depends on what the interest is. It depends on how much access they have to it to go deeply into it. But I wouldn't put the pressure on a 4-year-old to have a passion. That's just not practical. So they have interests and they do serious work. We call it, oh, they're just playing. But to our children, it's serious work. It can be fun, but that's when they learn, especially in the primary years, the preschool, the primary years. A lot of their learning looks to us like fun, and we have to be careful not to devalue the work that they're doing by calling it just play. because that's not fair to them. So this way of thinking about play and about learning, this is all the mind shift of the adults called deschooling. And deschooling is a big part of getting ready to homeschool. So as the adults, we need to be educating ourselves about the big topic of homeschooling. Not about, you're going to learn about the different philosophies. There's unschooling, there's classical education, there's Charlotte Mason, there's Montessori, there's Steiner, blah, blah, blah. There's hundreds of different philosophies, and that's a part of the deschooling, but you want to go to the higher level too. This is where you're going to read the books by John Holt and Sandra Dodd and John Taylor Gatto and Joanne Calderwood and hundreds of other authors that they're talking about homeschooling in the general sense. They're talking about learning in the way that it happens before it's institutionalized, before it's put into a classroom and made to fit the box. So this is deschooling, and if your children have gone to school, they may need some time to deschool, but it's a little bit different for them. What they're looking for is the opportunity to reconnect with their curiosity, the time to rediscover what their interests are without adult judgment and expectation attached to it. For them to experience the joy of owning their learning and not having their thunder stolen. You know what I mean? So like when they're problem solving and we come in and we're like, ooh, I know how to fix that. No, don't do that. Let them create the paths in their own brain for solving that problem and own it themselves. Don't steal their thunder, okay? And that's part of the mind shift, is that a lot of the learning that our kids are going to do don't actually need us to teach them. We just need to support and encourage them and bite our tongues until they bleed sometimes to not get into it. Other times, yeah, they're going to invite us in and they want us to be with them, and they're like, yeah, come and do this with me. That'll be so great and cool, and we'll have this bonding experience. Those are fantastic, and those opportunities do exist in homeschool. So you've just got to read. You've got to learn your child. In your relationship with them is going to change because you're going to be spending a lot more time with them, and you're going to get to know them. Gosh, you might even enjoy their company. I don't know. But so your relationships are going to change, and your role as a parent is going to change a little bit. All of this, especially in the first year of homeschooling, I mean, honestly, forget academics. As much as where you live allows you, forget about the academics, because you have until they're 18. So whether you have a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, plenty of time for academics. There's so much documentation of young people who didn't really get into math, didn't see a purpose for it, weren't all that worried about it, and then they hit 16, 17 years old where their prefrontal cortex has really developed to a point where they're starting to look at adulthood and going, I need to put some pieces into place here. Math looks like a good idea. And they'll knock out 4 years of math in 6 months. Okay, so you've got plenty of time for the academics. So that first year of homeschooling, make it fun. Make it social. When we moved from the US to Australia in 2017, for the rest of 2017 and all of 2018, that's the year we dated. Not for a partner, for friendships. And so my daughter and I went to every meetup within an hour's drive of where we live and just met people. She went off and played with the kids. I sat and talked with the moms, and I would watch who she was playing with, and I would find those children's moms and talk with them and see if there was a connection. And then we started inviting people into our home and getting to know them on a more personal level. And we just worked really, really hard at creating social connections to the point that by the time we got to January of 2019, we had a tribe. We have a group of about 4 or 5, not a huge tribe, but 4 or 5 other families that through all of 2019, we were seeing all or part of our tribe 2 to 4 times each week. And it was amazing. My daughter had friends. I had friends. We could do barbecues. We could do picnics. There was just so much support. And if I was having a good day and I wanted to celebrate something, I had friends to share it with. And if we were having a really rotten day and just ready to throw in the whole towel, I had friends that were in the trenches with me, and they're like, Ann, I hear you. I support you. What can I do for you? And I was like, this was all I needed, was to know I wasn't alone. And so, so that first year of getting started homeschooling, honestly, set aside as much of the academics as you can. Now, I mean, if your child is coming to you and saying, Mom, how do I, build a spaceship? Well, they might not be able to build a spaceship, but you can scale it down for them and build one out of paper or build one out of popsicle sticks or whatever. So I'm not saying say no to all of their questions. I'm just saying those of us that went to school, we see learning as happening through textbooks and workbooks and those kinds of activities. And there is a whole wider world of learning out there that we can tap into that isn't necessarily in textbooks or workbooks. So allow yourself that time, that first year, to explore these other avenues and just hold back on being so quick to continue the school format of learning within your home, because it can look so much different and have so much more joy in it than textbooks and workbooks. So how to get started? Find out what your registration is, make the social connections, hold off on the curriculum, do some deschooling, do some learning, build some friendships within the community, and have fun. Go out and explore nature. Find the local creek to play in. Find the trees to climb. Do bicycling. Do scootering. If you live where there's snow, do snowshoeing. Just explore. Get out and have fun. And let me know what's going on with you in the comments below. These are my ideas. These are some of the things that we did and that I think are really important for getting started in homeschooling. This may not be what you thought it was going to be. So ask questions. If you were looking for answers to topics that I didn't touch on, leave the question down below and I'll either respond in the comments or maybe that will spark a new video. So thanks for joining me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and I will see you in the next one.